Where's the intro? Where's Ian?
Okay, so as we do this train wreck of a live show, first and foremost, when you've got the YouTube, hear it?
No, I don't hear anything.
No, I don't either.
Okay, so I'm gonna close this down here for a minute, and hold on. All right. No, I don't want to end the broadcast. Let me bring in Ian. Okay. And again, we're just experimenting here, boys and girls. So bear with me.
That's what.
Yeah.
That's what they call it, showbiz, baby.
It's right. It's just that's why we're drinking alcohol every freaking week when we do this show, man.
We got shirts with our faces on them.
You
How
got
cool
yours
is that?
too?
Yeah.
I got mine.
I did too, Steel Dad. Thank you, man.
I got
You're
mine
welcome.
too.
I'm the only one that didn't get mine yet.
That's because you live in Michigan.
Apparently,
I guess. Yeah,
It's
but
like
they shipped
living
it
in Hawaii or
from
something.
North Carolina. For some
Yeah.
reason, I thought that Dan lived in Canada. Or
I
something.
think he does. I thought he was like in Vancouver or something.
So
like
he's
that.
printing in Canada, or North Carolina, rather.
I have no idea.
Are we live?
I'll ask him.
Are people
We're
listening? to
live,
this shit?
baby. We're live. Yeah.
Maybe we should actually do something entertaining then.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at it. See, I don't know if you guys see. We've got one guy on. Forgive me screwing up your name, Demon. Let's go. My favorite Steelers podcast by far, Big Ben's Burner. You can see in the comments there. If you got questions at all, fire them away there. Like I said, I'm going to do my
Only
best
Mark
to
can
try to-
see.
Yeah,
now,
no, I can see it.
If
Wait,
you
You go
got
to the
yeah, if you
comments
guys-
tab.
Yeah, if you get on the YouTube, you should be able to see it.
Oh, I see.
I
what
haven't
you're
even.
saying.
I haven't even.
Hey, Big Ben's
promoted
Burner,
us
I
on
love your
YouTube.
Twitter account. You're great.
Yeah, I do too.
Outstanding. Yes. Outstanding stuff there.
Thanks for watching our show.
Yeah, absolutely. And gentlemen, good to see you all. It seems like my wife always says to me, she's like, "How do you have another podcast already?" I said, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Well, it seems like last night was Thursday night." And I'm like, "It goes fast." One week, we've had a game and a lot of other things going on. So let's just get to it. Guys, your overall thoughts, just Reader's Digest version, if you will, to start out. Ben, on the Steelers' dramatic 32-25 win over the Seahawks.
The third team defense stinks. They allowed too many points.
Okay.
That should not have been a close game. It was kind of cool though. It gave Pickett a chance to be under pressure. They generated that late turnover after he got sacked in 4th and 1. And I thought that was a really dumb sack to take. But that's why they have preseason. That's why they have these practice games that don't mean anything, by the way. Because you can try those things and see if they work, and if they don't, then it didn't fucking work. It's a preseason game, but he should have gotten rid of that. 4th and 1, you need to put the ball in the air. Even if it's going to be a pick, it's not the end of the world. It's 4th down. You're going to lose the ball anyway.
Well, it make them make the play.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're right. Throw the ball.
Yeah, so he should have gotten rid of the ball, but the defense managed to turn it back around, get the ball back to him. Nice ending there. That was fantastic. I thought that Trubisky played pretty well. I thought that Mason had some moments. I think he also had some very bad moments where his footwork in particular and his decision-making was questionable. But that's Mason. He's as Ryan pointed out this week, he's a one-read quarterback. If his first read is there, he hits that guy. If that's not there and the play breaks down, he's going to try and look for the safe option, and that's not always there. He threw what should have been an easy pick, and his footwork, he threw off his back foot on top of that. It was just like, dude, you threw the ball late off your back foot. What the hell is wrong? What are you doing?
There's not many guys in the league that can routinely throw off their back foot.
5 years. Well, Ben used to be able to do it, but he's so
Few.
damn strong
Right.
that, he couldn't do it last year, but he could do it, years before that. And, I thought the D looked pretty nice. Okay, with a caveat, the run defense was not great. I thought the defensive backfield looked pretty okay. I was pleasantly surprised.
Well, one thing to remember too, though, they had a couple. They had 3 of the 4 starters in the defensive backfield. I mean, your 2 starting corners plus Edmonds. The defensive line, none of their starter. I mean, Wormley, Loudermilk, and Mondo started the game, so none of the top 3 defensive linemen played. And to your point about the third string defense, also that both of those guys that Seattle played at quarterback have started in the NFL before.
Yep.
They are, as we've said on this show before, there aren't 32 guys in the world that can be a starting NFL quarterback. Maybe there are 25. Neither of those guys are in the top 25, but they have started games in this league before.
Right.
So those guys going against the third team defense probably should light them up.
Yeah. And you're right. It is to be expected. You make a good point.
Yeah, and just to go back to something Ben said too, I do want to give credit to the guy who got the big strip sack there that got the ball back. And see, that was Mark Robinson. Yeah. And he's one of these guys. He's vying for a spot, and those are the types of plays you got to make, whether it's against third teamers or first teamers. Doesn't matter. You got to make the plays.
He's got to make special teams tackles.
Absolutely.
The thing that Ian talks about every year at this time of year is I pay attention to the guys that make special teams tackles, the guys that make special teams plays, because the last handful of roster spots, say 4 or 5 spots, Danny Smith's picking those guys. Yeah.
Speaking of which, I had a note that Buddy Johnson was involved in multiple special teams plays. Didn't always make the tackle, but he was there. He was involved.
Yeah.
He was involved in that fumbled punt. I'm going to just step on Ryan's toes and go next because I'm already talking. So
I'm a little worried about Scarpino. He hasn't said shit yet. He hasn't made a comment.
Seems really angry.
He does. I got a feeling something's coming. So, Ian, go ahead.
All right. So, George Pickens is that dude. And we heard good reports out of camp, and at this time of year, you kind of want to temper your expectations sometimes. Be like, all right, it's football in shorts. Is he going to do it when they put the pads on? He's doing it when they put the pads on. I mean, his footwork at the back of the end zone was outstanding. I mean, putting aside where Mason placed the ball and how high he threw the friggin' ball, the catch and footwork was great on Pickens' part. And he showed some really good physical toughness in run blocking and in some other spots where, for a guy who's has the talent to be an elite wide receiver, sometimes those guys don't want to mix it up physically. So it was good to see him mix it up physically. Yeah. Dan Moore had a rough game. Miles Jack is good.
Yeah. Both counts.
I was impressed by KZ, the backup safety we signed from Atlanta. He had a really nice game. I was impressed by Steven Sims on punt returns, almost more so that he let balls bounce into the end zone rather than trying to return them. Because a lot of times in the preseason, you see guys that are trying to make a roster spot, field a punt inside the 5 and try and make a play, and that sets your offense back. So the mental awareness to let a couple ones go rather than – and then when he got a shot, he made a great play. But I was almost more impressed that he let a couple go more than his big return.
He got that jet sweep too.
He got that, and he was really good at the old classic fake catch.
Yeah,
I mean, he had the cameraman fooled, he had the defense fooled. I mean, I was surprised. I was very impressed with him back there.
But my biggest takeaway from the game is what a big difference it makes to have a quarterback who is not an absolute statue in the backfield. Just the ability to step away from some pressure, do some rollouts that, do a couple other things. I mean, Trubisky's touchdown pass, there wasn't a whole lot of pressure, but what he did was he opened up a passing lane. He moved out of the pocket and opened the passing lane.
He
so
moved
that
the
ball,
defense this way.
Yeah.
And then threw back. He threw an out to the opposite side from this hash mark. From the left hash mark, he threw an out. Yeah. And it was a nice pass. It wasn't a great pass, but it was nice. And I agree with you. He moved the defense, which was what created the opening for him.
Right.
Yeah.
But all 3 of those guys made some questionable decisions.
They did. They did.
But they took chances they shouldn't have taken, or maybe that they're not good enough to take. That's a better way of putting it. They took chances that they're not talented enough to take, where that was the difference with Ben last year. He made really good decisions, especially in the fourth quarter. He couldn't move. but he was still effective. He was clutch as a result.
Well, and we're going to find out with these guys. Who
we are.
Who it is, we don't know yet.
Mitch. It's going to be Mitch.
Yeah, I would bet a lot of things right now that it's going to be Mitch to start. I think this weekend, and we'll get into it, is going to be very good to see Pickett playing with, as Coach said, some more varsity guys. But in any case, guys, we are like 10 minutes in, and Scarpino has not said shit yet.
He did.
I'm really
talking about
worried.
a jet sweep.
He did, but I'm worried here.
Are you guys paying attention to the chat?
Well, I see we got too early to fire Tomlin.
Yeah, way too early.
Seattle could be one of the worst teams in the league this year.
They got a bad D, yeah.
They could be, and I don't want to not recognize that at all because they could be bad. But Ryan, what were your thoughts from Saturday night, my man?
I mean, I didn't get too high. I didn't get too low. I understand. I'm fine if you're optimistic.
Sure.
And I can understand optimism and excitement as a fan. But I take these games with a grain of salt. I really do. It was great to see quarterbacks. Well, Mason didn't move around too much, but it's great to see quarterback. Two of the three quarterbacks have mobility. It was nice to see Anthony McFarland take advantage of his opportunities.
Yes,
I'm not ready to crown George Pickens, but yes, I think he has potential. I think he has a really good shot of being good, but I also look at it as like, Seattle might be one of the worst teams in the NFC this year. I mean, I know they rested starters, but Jamal Adams can only do so much. They're just not good. The one thing I will say is that Pickens touchdown was against Kobe Bryant, R.I.P. Mamba. But the other Kobe Bryant, different spelling from Cincinnati, who I mean, he was mocked to the Steelers in some sort, form of fashion in a variety of things, not first round or anything like that, but a potential Steelers guy. But getting to Ben's point, I do think if that's a good cornerback, that probably does get picked on that throw from Mason to Pickens.
At least it's knocked down.
Yeah. But
I want to say this one thing though. I didn't think it was so much the pass. I looked at it from another angle. The pass was pretty okay. It wasn't an absolute dime like people talked about, but he should have used his body to shield the ball. He should have moved around and had his back facing the DB, so the DB had no shot at it. You don't see touchdown passes that often in the NFL where the guy's facing the corner.
Do you guys think the officials should have thrown the offensive interference on Pickens?
No.
He had the arm fully extended.
Yeah, but he didn't really get that much of a push.
I agree. I don't think it should have been thrown, but my concern is, here's a rookie. He gets away with that in the very first game. Is that going to come back to haunt him during the regular season?
Depends where the game's at.
Definitely. I don't think he created separation. I think the separation was already there. But what the hell do I know?
My concern on that was more. I mean, Mason. I know we've beaten the Mason Rudolph drum to death on this show, but Mason, when he throws deep balls, throws these moon balls that go like so high, and like the one to Pickens was in a spot where it was barely catchable, and he did a great job getting his feet down. But like throwing deep balls like that, you're never going to hit a receiver in stride. You're never going to get yards after the catch. They're all going to be jump balls. They're all going to be jump balls between the receiver and the defensive back. Whereas some other guys can throw those balls. I mean, I don't want to compare him to early career Ben, but early career Ben would throw those balls on a rope and hit guys in stride, and they'd be gone. Or
like Russell Wilson has But final point about the game, like I said, not too high, not too low. Good for Kenny Pickett, and I just want to say this: I never had a problem with Kenny Pickett. I just didn't like that they went quarterback first round. That's what it is. So I'm not going to root against Kenny Pickett. I'm rooting for him.
He's a Steeler now. Of course you're not going to root against him.
Just like I'm going to root for Mason, even though he got booed. But Pickett, I think that what I like about that game plan is that they put all three quarterbacks in positions to succeed in one way or other. And yes, they all made mistakes, but I think that they all gave them opportunities to sort of show what they're capable of. And one positive, I will say that after that, I'm not even joking. After that first play from Mason, Dan Moore whiffed on that block. I literally thought Mason was just going to shut down, and I was going to be like, I'm not going to be able to show my face next Steel City Blitz podcast. Ben Anderson is going to be all over me.
I got to say, though, and actually I probably would have been, but that pass rusher, if you watch that play, he made a great move.
Okay.
He faked inside and came out
yes. And
Dan had a bad game. He did, but that's a good pass rusher.
But looking back on it, initially you're like, more whiffed. But then you look back on it, you're like, okay, all right, we're good.
The guy made a play.
I fully expected Mason to just go 3 and out.
That's it.
And
I'm done.
Get more boos. And then he threw that touchdown. I was like, oh shit, okay.
Right.
And I was like, that looks good for maybe another team that wants to take a stab at it. But then, and I'll say this, and I don't care what anybody says. I saw nothing once again from Devin Bush, and I will not boo him. I will not root against him, but that guy just does not want to come in contact.
Yeah,
he doesn't.
Let me have any desire.
Yeah, let me come right back.
Devin
to that.
Bush is more afraid of contact than a 6th grader at a middle school dance.
Oh yeah!
Wow! Yes, I've seen aggressive 6th graders.
That's
before.
Awesome.
That's pretty good. Real quick, don't forget we're proudly presented by Deck Roofing Incorporated of South Florida, serving Broward and the southern Palm Beach counties. Whether it's commercial, industrial, residential, multifamily, or condos, contact Deck Roofing today by visiting deckroofing.com. Okay, now you can get in on the whole Bush stuff here. That's good, Ian. That was very good.
Apparently, Ian just chaperoned a middle school
dance. Yeah. Did that just pop into your head?
Some of us still have nightmares about our random encounters in 6th grade, too. Like, Ian, I'm with you, man. Relax,
my oldest
chubby fella. I was fat in 6th grade. I get exactly what you're talking about.
My oldest son's going into 6th grade, so
Oh yeah, you
it's
just
on the mind
created
now.
a mess for yourself.
Yeah.
Scarps, were you the guy on the wall watching the whole thing? Is that what you're trying to say?
Nah, I was fat, but I had game.
Nice. You were a Chris Farley type out there doing.
I was. I was a ham. I was screaming Aerosmiths. I don't want to miss a thing. Little Ricky Martin living La Vida Loca. I got dances, but that was about it.
Okay, so let's talk Devin Bush here. I mean, I just don't. I don't know what else to say. I mean, somebody could easily say to me, "Oh, come on, it was just the first preseason game." No, I'm sorry. It was the same thing we saw all last year. It was the same thing. I mean, the big run that Homer had, the 16-yard run, where Bush literally saw what was happening in front of him and just kind of like wanted to wave as he went by. And he just doesn't look like he's interested. He doesn't look like he wants to make contact with anybody. I don't get it. Ben, what are you seeing?
I didn't think on that particular play that contact what he was trying to avoid. I thought he was trying to avoid cutting on that knee still over a year later. And it's like, dude, are you still there? Because, I mean, if that's where you're at, this isn't going to last very long. It's not going to work out. Because in order to be effective, he's got to regain his pre-ACL tear form. And if he's not even going to try and do it now, things aren't going to go well.
I'm assuming all of us have probably known somebody who's gotten hurt, and you weren't the same after you got hurt.
I've had multiple knee injuries.
I mean, there's trust. There's trust issues. There's the fear of the pain. There's the fear of going through the rehab. I mean, there's all kinds of things, and I think sometimes, and I'm not making excuses for Bush. I'm just simply saying, I think sometimes we forget that every one of us handles those types of things differently, and I think the way that he has handled this is an indication that he's struggling personally with the whole thing. because he was a guy that used to fly around, got to the football, didn't care about contact, and then all of a sudden it changed. Ian, what are you seeing?
Yeah, I agree. I think he's almost has the opposite problem now. Like when he was a rookie and his tape at Michigan, it was almost he would fly to the ball and sometimes run himself out of plays or run himself past the ball carrier because he was so aggressive. And the thought was, okay, if you can just kind of hone that in a little bit and get him to focus on the ball carrier and make that contact. He made a ton of plays at Michigan, and even some his rookie year on those cross-X blitzes coming up the middle that like he just fly through there and stop running plays or get sacks in the backfield. And now it's like if a lineman touches him, he's out of the play. Like he has to basically stay completely clean. And the only person he wants to hit's the ball carrier. He's not. Yeah, I agree. I think it's mental. I think it's all between the ears.
100%.
It's not.
No
it's
question.
not a physical. It's not a physical shortcoming. It's a But I think Mark's right too. That you don't know that about yourself until actually like go through that 12 months of rehab from an ACL injury and all that grind of trying to work back from an injury. Like I used to joke with my dad that Ben Roethlisberger was a glutton for punishment because he would just go out there and get the crap beat out of him, have to sleep in a chair at home for 2 weeks and come back out and play. Like say what you want about him, but that dude was tough as nails. I mean, he endured so much pain in his career that it was something he was willing to do to play the game. And some people love the game that much and want to keep playing it and are willing to put up with that much pain. Some people, and you never know that about yourself until you go through it. Some people go through it and they're like, well, I've made $5 million. That's enough for me. I don't want to go through that again. So it is what it is.
Part of Bush's deal, just speaking as somebody who's had a handful of significant knee injuries, part of his deal is physical. It's the mental aspect of it is he doesn't believe in himself. He still doubts that he's strong enough to be able to do what he used to be able to do. Everything was so easy before. It was second nature, and now he's actually got to think about it, and it's screwing him up.
Yeah, what was it?
Yeah, go ahead, Ryan. I'm sorry.
I mean, what Mike Tyson said, everybody got a plan until you get punched in the mouth.
Amen.
And I mean, let's just say Devin Bush rehabbed. He's like, I'm good. I'm going to get back out there. I'm going to be fine. And then at first snap, it was like, oh shit. I'm right. So, I mean, here's the thing. I don't want to be too critical on him because he's a Steeler and I can understand he's coming off a major surgery, but I want to say he doesn't do – my biggest problem with him is he doesn't do himself any favors. He's retweeting cat videos, cats getting thrown off shit, He treats media sessions like it's a burden rather than, actually like – because I'm going to tell you this, and it's not even a sign of weakness. We want to talk about this like we want to talk about mental health and we want to talk about how it's not, let's reduce that stigma. He could easily get up there and say, listen, still up here, because what does it matter? Because if the coaches know his heart's in it and his mind's in it, what does it matter what he says to the fans? Tell the fans, listen, I had a major surgery, I had a major injury, I had a major surgery. Listen, my heart is in this. I'm fully committed to being a Pittsburgh Steeler for life. I'm going to give you all I got. It's going to take some time. Optics is everything. And this dude just looks disinterested every single opportunity he gets. And then what happens is that his disinterest with his media sessions makes fans be like, oh, well, the media is annoying. They're asking these stupid questions.
It compounds things.
They're not stupid questions. This dude didn't get his fifth-year option picked up for whatever reason, and he could be a free agent next year. So how are you approaching the season? How's that a dumb question?
It's not. I agree, Ryan.
And
he handled it.
It's the elephant in the room.
Yes, I mean,
everybody's asking it. Just somebody mentioned it to him, and he came up with a silly answer, non-answer.
Most reporters now act like cheerleaders and say, and won't ask that question. That's a good question. Like, what are you going to do? And for him to be like, I'm not worried about it. I'll still be in the league. What team? It's not this team.
Real quick, there's a question from Aaron on here, and he's just simply asking is there any trade value for Bush? Personally, I don't think so.
No.
I mean,
there's definitely trade value for Bush.
There's always value.
The problem is
want him right now?
who do they have behind him? Robert Spillane and a handful of guys that are completely unproven.
Right.
My buddy from Dormont.
I mean, what are they going to do? Play Marcus Allen there?
Well, I was told Twitter would be okay with Roquan Smith for Devin Bush straight up.
Right. You're going to trade him for a few.
I'd take that trade any day of the week.
You go to Chicago,
the Bears wouldn't do it.
No.
The Bears would be like, up your ass. We're not trading you Devin Bush for Roquan Smith.
Throw in a few icy light mangoes and we're good.
Anyway, last thing about Devin Bush is that this is the beauty of it. He got 17 games. He's got his redemption tour. He's got 17 games to prove.
I hope it is.
17 games to prove to not only the Steelers, but the fans that he was worthy of them moving up to pick him.
He's got to start games before he can have the opportunity to prove a fucking thing. And right now, he's battling.
Start him?
I don't know, but he's battling for the starter spot with a guy who's not good. Okay, Robert Spillane is not good. All right, straight up, he's not. He's a throwback linebacker who's good against the run. Okay, he's not a modern linebacker. He's not a modern linebacker.
No.
And all of that being said, if he can't separate himself from a guy who's really not very good, then he's not very good. And if he's afraid of contact and he's not filling holes and he's letting guys run past him and get big gains in the run game, guess what? They're going to pull him and they're going to start Robert Spillane. He's not going to have any opportunity to prove shit.
Right.
I got to say this, and I don't know this. I'm asking a question here. But when I think of Robert Spillane, I think of him stuffing Derrick Henry.
Oh, yeah, it was great.
And also a pick 6 on Lamar Jackson. Same year.
Forgot about
same
that.
year. I mean, same
awesome.
year in a matter of weeks. I think I don't know. I can't remember.
Jackson threw a lollipop.
It might have been back-to-back weeks, right?
It was either back-to-back. I'm sorry, but it was either back-to-back or 2 of 3 weeks. Regardless, those are the types of plays that make you a legend, right? I mean, like.
Sure.
And I'm not saying that Robert Spillane is going to be a legend. I'm saying that those are the types of plays in back-to-back weeks that will make you. Those are the types of plays that if Devin Bush would make early on this season, people would be like, people would be like, I don't even remember that cat video. What? What did he say to the video?
Yeah, the whole conversation would be moot. But Ian, have you gotten a chance to voice your thing on Bush here? And I forgot.
Oh, I did right before you read the deck.
Well, I wasn't sure if we had or not.
Middle school.
Yeah, the middle school dance. Yeah.
Well, that was it. That was as blunt as can be. I don't know. I mean,
the other thing I'll say, on Bush, is that a lot is made about him being the 10th overall pick.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. I mean, you make a top 10 pick, you expect to hit on that guy, and you expect him to be a starter for a long time.
Yep.
That said, if you look back at the guys who were the number 10 overall picks, it's a really friggin' mixed bag. I mean, yes, you've got Patrick Mahomes, Stephon Gilmore, Todd Gurley. You also have Josh Rosen, Eli Apple, Eric Ebron, Chance Warmack, Blaine Gabbert, Matt Leinart, Mike Williams, maybe just don't draft USC guys. I don't know. But
Mike Williams.
That Mike Williams. Yeah.
Not the Chargers, Clemson Mike Williams.
No, the USC Mike Williams that Detroit took when they only took wide receivers.
Okay.
Right, for like 8 straight years.
Yeah. But I guess, they
also took Roy Williams too, right?
They did take Roy Williams.
Yeah, they did.
And Charles Rogers.
Traded him to Dallas. Remember that?
And Kelvin. And then Kelvin. They hit one.
Yeah. But, what I'm saying is that and it's not excusing Devin Bush. It's just saying that, yes, when you make a top 10 pick, you expect him to be good because you invested a lot in him, especially when you trade up for him.
Was it you who talked about the inefficiency in trading up for linebackers? Or was it somebody else?
I've talked about the inefficiency in trading into the top 3 for a quarterback. Trading into the top 10, but not the top 3 is usually okay. from a return standpoint and what you give up. But
the huge difference between Devin Bush and Devin White.
Oh yeah, it's massive.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's like falling off a cliff. But when they both came out, it was like, they're pretty close.
Right.
Yeah.
They're pretty close. This guy's a little bigger.
Where'd White go? 8?
Tampa.
9?
5.
Tampa 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know he went to
and-
Tampa, but I couldn't remember when.
Yeah.
He was a good pick at 5 too. That was a good value.
No, he's been a great player for them.
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, the two Devins.
Yeah.
Right.
CBS
And it was like, well, you get one, no big deal. You get the other one,
Yeah.
But let me flip over to the other side of the ball. Running backs. None of us mentioned in the opening thoughts on last week. Jalen Warren wasn't spectacular, but he looked pretty damn good. And word is at camp this week, he's kind of running with the twos. And that's in part because Benny Snell's been banged up, but also because they liked what he did. Ian would, is this just kind of an audition for this kid? See what he can do with the varsity players, and then as Aaron points out here, Master T got hurt this week too, so I think he's going to be down for a while.
Yeah, they waived / injured Master Teague and signed another guy yesterday. But that was unfortunate for Teague. He was running hard. He was running good. I thought his play had kind of elevated him to the, I'll call it, practice squad bubble.
Right.
That I didn't think Teague had enough to make the roster.
They're going to end up giving him an injury settlement.
Although he could wind up on IR too if he clears waivers. But
but then they'll give an injury settlement, and basically they won't be able to sign him back until that injury settlement is up. So if they pay him for 6 weeks, they can't re-sign him for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Where another team can sign him the next day if he can pass a physical. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah.
Yep. That's the give and take of that.
Right. But on Jalen Warren, I thought he looked really good. He ran hard. I was impressed with him in the passing game. I didn't know he had that much ability in both blitz pickup and as a receiver. So, I mean, we kind of know what Benny Snell is at this point. I kind of feel like Benny Snell's almost the Mason Rudolph of running backs, that he is what he is. He's not gonna get much better, but he's not gonna get much worse. He's just kind of he's
between the tackles back.
Yeah,
who needs
he's between
10
the tackles,
carries or so to get warmed up, and then he starts to become effective.
And he doesn't pick up the blitz very well, and isn't a very good receiver. So
he does not.
Yeah. I think Warren has a shot, and we've talked about this before on the show, that the Steelers usually give guys that they draft 3 seasons, right? Or 2 seasons in a camp. And if they haven't really proven they can stick, that's usually when they cut guys. So yeah, I mean, I would say Snell's injury is not helping him right now.
You see Aaron's comment.
He could. Aaron asked
we got
if no
some
one
comedians in here tonight. Some of
package
these
of Mason Snell.
Let's package up the Steelers trash.
These are our people right here.
Let's package up the Steelers trash and see if somebody wants to buy
it. How would you guys describe Warren's running style?
Power.
He's
power with a little wiggle. He's got a little.
He's a one-cut guy. Yeah, he's a one-cut guy. I don't think he's that great in the passing game. I thought his routes were nothing special. Nice hands. Can pick up the blitz, which to me, that's what separates him between, that's the difference, the market difference between Benny Snell and Warren.
Yeah.
For me right there.
I agree.
Who he reminds me of a little bit is Isaac Redmond.
Yeah,
Redmond
a little bit.
Good enough in the passing.
Right.
Like Redmond wasn't great in the passing game, but he had good enough hands. He was really good at blitz pickup, and he could run with some power.
Yeah, I that's actually a really good comp.
I see that.
One other guy, and I hate to shift gears here, but you guys talked about this on the chat after the game, and I was like, yeah, whatever. And then I watched the game a couple times afterward. Gunnar Olszewski got into it, was mixing it up, even on rundowns.
Yeah.
Was getting in there. I mean, he's a little guy, and he was getting into the pile and trying to block guys, and no fear, no nothing. He just busted his ass. Kind of like him now. I hope he makes the team. I don't know if he's going to. I think he's got an outside shot, but I kind of like the guy now. I thought that touchdown that he caught was was because there were 3 guys waiting for Pickens to catch the ball, and he didn't. But, he looked okay. He really did.
I liked his ability to kind of find a hole in the zone and sit down. He made a couple nice little third down catches where he found a hole in the zone and sat down and got open. So, yeah, I liked what Olszewski did. Sticking with the running backs a minute, Anthony McFarland had a really nice game.
Yeah.
My one concern with McFarland is that I felt like all of his big runs came because he kind of got out in the open field and juked somebody, and he made stuff happen with his feet, which is good. But also I was like, against a first string defense, you're getting caught from behind if you stop and juke like that. Like, you're not turning that into a 25-yard run. So, it was a nice game for McFarland. We kind of needed to see that, especially since he hadn't shown much.
He needed it big time.
But yeah, it was a good start, but I'd like to see, him just hit the hole and use the straight line speed rather than trying to juke everyone out of their shoes.
Offensive line was much better in the run game. Than we've seen last year.
There was push.
I'm going to say something
exactly.
I'm going to say something that might be a bit radical, but
oh boy,
I thought the second team O-line was better than the first team O-line.
Oh,
wow.
More effective.
I thought Leglue played pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, you had Leglue. I mean, it's basically our stars from last year. You had Leglue and Haig and Hassenauer. Yeah.
Hassen Saucer.
Yeah. So
he played quite a bit.
The first team had some struggles. I mean, Dan Moore struggled. Kendrick Green didn't look real good. And some of it might just be communication, that like it's a whole new 5 guys all together still trying to learn the communication thing.
New coach too.
Yeah, new coach. So, and a lot of O-line play is communication. And those guys on the second string, like we said, with, Hassenauer and Haig and Leglue, they all played together last year and they all started together for a few games. They have some of that communication down. So maybe that was some of it, but I thought they actually looked better than the first stringers. Granted, they were playing against backups, and so there's a bit of a difference.
You can only play who's across from you.
It's true.
At the end of the day,
and it is preseason. That's how you get more opportunities. Is you beat a backup in the preseason, and that earns you an opportunity to try yourself against the starter. Yeah.
Hey, real quick, guys, let me remind everybody that we are part of the Pigskin Podcast Network, which, of course, also means we are very pleased to be tied in with DraftKings Sportsbook. Right now, the next generation of fantasy sports is here. Download the DraftKings Daily Fantasy app now. Sign up with promo code TPPN. Click the Rainmakers tile and opt in to get your first card free. Plus, play for millions of prizes all football season while building the ultimate NFT fantasy franchise with Rainmakers Football. That's promo code TPPN. Build, play, win only at DraftKings. So check that out, guys. We would love it if you did. Who had The Athletic had a really good piece. I know their subscription service, but they did had a great story on Gunnar Olszewski today, which was a good piece on him and kind of his mentality. The guy was a really, really good baseball player. Thought he was going to go to the majors in baseball and broke his hand, stealing second, and never played again. Somebody said, you really should be playing more football. And he was All-American at Bemidji State in Minnesota, I think. Or was that in the Dakotas? I can't ever remember.
I think
what the hell that is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Ask Coulong next time we see him. He knows all about the stuff up there. I don't know. So let me jump back in here real quick. Quarterbacks. All right. Kenny Pickett.
Ryan had one more comment.
I'm sorry, Scarps. Go ahead. I'm getting.
Oh no, for some wrestling fan, if you wrestling fans out there, I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
Crushed.
Benny Snell's not going anywhere.
Really?
No. And I might be wrong, but
I hope so.
I don't see Benny Snell losing that number 2 role. And then it becomes, do you keep McFarland or Warren? Both are just different.
Yes.
But I think that they keep McFarland and then Warren goes on the practice squad.
Whoa.
But if he plays well enough, he might not make it to the practice squad.
Right.
But because I look at it as if this is just me, but if you keep Naj, Snell, and Warren, you got 3 of the same type of guys. There's no that's just me. McFarland, he's a little wild card. I don't know. Let's see what he can do. But anyway, that's my final point of running backs. But then when it comes to wide receivers, I'm not gonna sugarcoat this because I don't dislike Ryan Switzer or anything, but Gunnar Olszewski is everything you wanted Ryan Switzer to be in a football player. And Ryan Switzer, real good guy, good in the community.
Yep.
Not even a bad football player, but he just never meshed here. But I'm going to say this. When Darth Vader, Bill Belichick, thinks you're good enough, I'm going to trust him.
Right.
So,
yeah, obviously they decided that he was going to be too much money and let him go. So, and Richard points out real quick that Warren did fumble, and a lot of people didn't see it because the camera coverage was kind of from behind the play. The ball popped out, and they
got it right back.
It was a receiver, I think, that jumped on it.
Right.
And so this week, all week, he's been walking around with a football. Yeah, the classic high school move. That
exactly.
Well, I love it. I think it's great. But let's move over to the quarterbacks.
So good for Richard for pointing that because Tomlin pointed that out in his halftime interview.
Yeah, he did.
Put the ball on the ground, and that is
no.
I mean, they asked him about Jalen Warren, but he's like, yeah, he put the ball on the ground. I was like, shit, yeah. So I mean, he was carrying a football around like it was his baby this week.
He was.
So that's never a good sign.
No,
never a good sign. Just say it.
Coach T said that Kenny Pickett will get some varsity reps this week. He's going to play more with the second team, which means Mason Rudolph will go more with the third. So it'll go Trubisky, Pickett, and then Mason. I mean, Ian, what do you need to see? I mean, we saw some pretty cool stuff from Pickett last week. Of course, the problem is competition wasn't great. So what do you need to see this week?
Yeah. Credit where it's due to the coaching staff. I thought they designed a pretty good game plan for Pickett. I know I'm stealing kind of Ryan's thunder here because that was one of his points that he made on our Slack chat during the game that, the coaches designed some good, easy throws for Pickett early in the game, to kind of get him in the game, get him comfortable, let him, have some good looks, and then let him take some more chances and throw the ball down the field. I want to see him to have continued success. I'd like to see him throw the ball deep a little more. He threw a lot of short passes, safe passes. Honestly, it's preseason. I don't care if they get intercepted or whatever. I want to see him, I want to see what his arm strength is like. And, playing with the 1 or 2 receivers, you also want to see him kind of start to develop some chemistry with those guys, because if you take it down the path and if Pickett is the number 2 guy during the regular season and he has to come in for a game if Trubisky gets hurt or something, you want him to have some chemistry with the guys he's going to be throwing the ball to. So, and actually, you see that sometimes with backups around the league, that they'll come in and they'll start throwing the ball to like the number 3 and number 4 receivers and not throw the ball to the number 1 and number 2 guys because they're just not used to throwing.
It's a very underrated thing. It happens a lot more than you think.
Well, maybe Mitch will take every Wednesday off, and the backup will get lots of reps with the first team every Wednesday, and he'll be fully prepared for games no matter what happens, or they should be.
So I want to see continued progress from Pickett.
Maybe
I think Pickett
every damn week, Ben.
Yeah. Pickett didn't show me anything that overtly concerned me in the opening game.
Right.
I just want to see him continue to get better each week.
Ben, were you surprised at his arm strength at all, Ben?
It was pretty much what I expected.
Okay.
I didn't think that out pattern that he threw was a great pass. I thought it was a good pass, though.
Yeah.
You throw an out in an NFL game from the opposite hash and you complete it. Nice pass.
Yep.
It was good. It's a little bit of a looping throw where what I would have liked to seen was, a laser on that on that particular throw, but
Yeah.
it was a pretty good pass. I'm not real impressed with his arm strength. All of that said, I thought he played within his abilities. I thought he played smart for the most part. He took some dumb sacks, took some chances. That's what preseason is for. I keep reminding myself. But he's a smart player. He's a mobile guy. He's got adequate arm strength. Wouldn't call it great. But his body is going to evolve. His body's going to change.
For sure.
And, if he can use the natural gifts that he's got to the best of his ability, he's got a chance to be successful. So we'll see. I wasn't impressed with his arm strength, if that's what you're asking me.
I guess what I'm getting at is I was a little what's the word? I was pretty pleased with a couple of those throws because I did not anticipate. Well, no, let me rephrase that. I didn't see him coming in as a big arm guy, period.
No, he's not.
So that was my number one concern with him, not the small hands. I don't care about the hands. I'm more concerned about
he's played in Pittsburgh. I mean,
right. Can you make that throw across the field on a line and keep it away from the defender? And I saw a little bit of that. So that was good. I do agree with Ian and Ryan. And some of the people commenting here. I think we'll see him throw it a little deeper as the preseason goes the next week or two. Give him some shots to do that. So, Scarps, what was your thoughts of young Mr. Pickett?
Yeah, I mean, I thought they put him in a good position to succeed. He did that one sack by the goal line. I thought his arm got ripped off. I'm not gonna lie. I was just like,
oh man, I did too.
And I know that sounds silly to say, like his arm might have got ripped off, but like you just never know in this game, like what could happen, like some freak injury or what. You just So, again, don't have a problem with Kenny Pickett, rooting for him. I just didn't like quarterback in the first round. I want to reiterate that. But
so you wouldn't have cared if it was a really great quarterback class and they drafted a quarterback.
1,000,000%. Exactly. I just wasn't too, I just wasn't too fond of this quarterback class.
Neither was I.
Even though
we've talked it to death.
Yeah,
I wasn't that impressed with anybody in this class, including Pickett.
Yeah.
So now he's a Steeler. So got to root for him.
So here goes this. And I'm fine with this because I tweeted this week at Scarpezio. But Mason is who he is. He ain't great. He ain't bad. He ain't good. He ain't bad. Whatever you want to call it. It's what it is. They know what they have in him. Okay. I don't care. And I do like the guy. And I want to say this. I think Mason has handled his whole career in the most professional manner you can imagine. All class. He's never taken the bait ever once, and I do love the media, but let's not ask like they don't ask. But like, good for him. So in this game, fine. If he's not, I don't know how much he's going to play, and I really don't care. But I do care about this game because there's only 3 preseason games now. There used to be 4, and the third game was always that sort of like unveil the curtain, right? Not fully, but you unveil the curtain, all the starters
as much
play,
as time. Yeah.
And you see what's happening, and it's like they get 2 drives or whatever. This game, I'm interested to see, first of all, how Jacksonville approaches it, but also how the Steelers approach it. Kenny, if you're listening, if you're watching, number 8, I love you. I want to see them not be so friendly with the script this week. I want to see him get thrown in some shit and to see how he comes out of it. Okay. And I'm not saying that, he flips up the thing on his wrist or whatever, that they're messing with those, but I'm just sitting there. I'm sitting there thinking like, I want to see this guy and I want to see what he does when his back's against the wall, when the shit hits the fan. So it's not so much a friendly script as it is, here's what do you want to run versus what we'd like you to run? I want to see some more behind the scenes. Here's what I want to do. Here's what I want to see, yada, yada, yada. And then when he gets to the line, I want to see him actually read the defense and see if what he wants to do is there. And if it's not, I want to see some movement. I don't know who he's playing with. Is DJ playing this week? Is Claypool playing this week? That's the other thing, too. There's a lot of moving parts.
Yes.
Regardless, Mitch is the guy. I'm going to go to the grave with that. I want to see what Pickett can do in sort of less than comfortable circumstances.
Don't you expect that third game to be the old third game when there were 4 games in the preseason?
I don't.
The third game to be this week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the third game to me is the old fourth game. This is it. This is the one.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think the old fourth game, which will be the third game this year,
Yes.
is where we're going to see Mitch get benched
Yes.
and Mason's going to start.
Yes. Agreed.
You'll probably see Chris Olszewski too.
Yeah. Is that how you say his name?
I
still don't know.
I was hoping somebody would correct me.
I still don't know.
How much time is there right now between that third preseason game and the actual starter? Because it seems like there's more time now than ever before. So I'm wondering if maybe coaches aren't going to approach that a little differently. Maybe they won't make this the third game as it always used to be. I don't know. I can't remember how much time there is. But I agree with you guys in concept, though. You'd think that's the way it would work in that regard. But I'm curious to see what Mason does. It can't be a good feeling to
20th to the 28th. So Saturday to Sunday, following Sunday.
So the last game of the preseason is the 28th.
Yeah.
At home against the Lions.
Okay, but then when do they open, though? It's not
The 11th.
They open the 11th, which is 13 days later.
after.
So that's about 2 weeks. I mean, has it always been that big of a gap? I don't remember it being that big of a gap.
It used to be that the
9
last
days?
preseason game was always Thursday night,
Mhm.
a week in advance of the NFL kickoff
Sunday.
Thursday
Right.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thursday. So but you Steelers usually played on Sunday. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just curious. I'm just trying to do a little math there in that regard. We mentioned right at the very top of the show was the run defense. And again, the easy thing to say, and Ian pointed it out, we didn't really have any starters there. No Cam, no Ogunjobi, no Alu.
Ogunjobi's going to play this week, though.
It sounds like he is, and it also from
And
people
Cam
I've talked to,
Cam's a
he's been-
maybe, but
right.
maybe not.
He
I would
rolled
not
the
play
ankle
Cam. He got
today.
hurt today. He got tweaked up.
Yeah, Cam rolled the ankle today. I don't
Right.
think he's going to see any preseason action, to be honest with you. Now,
Kind of sucks, but
it does. Ogunjobi has been killing people in
Right.
camp, and so I'm very curious to watch him a little bit. But as everybody knows, and the people listening typically know too, is that if your front guys aren't doing the job, then that affects your linebackers, and that of course affects your secondary, as we all know that Minka Fitzpatrick was our leading tackler, and that just should not be. So what do you want to see this week against Jacksonville in terms of run defense? Ian, I'll go with you.
I want to see linebackers getting in holes and making stops like within I almost said within 5 yards of the line, but that would be embarrassing. Hold guys to gains of 2 yards or less, right? Like get in the holes and make plays. Run downhill to the football, run sideline to sideline, because remember, let's not forget that Jacksonville has Doug Peterson as their head coach now. And he won that Super Bowl in Philadelphia. They run a lot of motion stuff. They run a lot of sort of that new age offensive stuff. But Peterson, I always thought Peterson was a good coach, but I think Peterson does a lot of things to make his quarterback successful. Whatever that is. I mean, heck, he won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles. So I feel like he schemes a lot of things to scheme guys open, whether it's running back wheel routes out of the backfield or whatever it is to let his quarterbacks have success. So as far as the linebackers go, I mean, there's going to be a lot of play action. There's going to be a lot of motion. They're going to have to read and interpret, but that's fine because Baltimore does that shit too.
Yep.
You got to learn it at some point. So, but I want to see him attack the ball. You want to run downhill and attack the ball.
Is Etienne playing this week?
I think it was a maybe.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I would like to see us play him because I mean that's the kind of back.
And James Robinson is still coming back from an Achilles injury too.
Right.
So
yeah. Right. And they've got.
I'm not hopeful.
Right.
On the Jaguars running back depth. Let's just say Fred Taylor and Maurice Jones-Drew are not going to be taking the field Saturday.
Fred Taylor used to kick our ass. Oh, God, that guy.
Yes, he did.
Man, he was a good one.
Natrone Means might make an appearance, though. I don't know.
Just saying. Shit.
He played for the Chargers, didn't he?
Yeah.
And
Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Relax, Madden 97 over here. There
we go. Ben, did you have anything on run defense at all?
I want to see them. I just want to see one thing. Just stay in your fucking gaps. Just stay in your fucking gaps. Jesus. It's a recurring theme over and over and over and over again where guys, they penetrate, get blown out of the gap.
Yeah.
They try and stay in the gap, get blown out of the gap. They back off a little bit, get blown out of the gap. Just stay in your gap. That's all I want you to do. Just stay in your fucking gap.
Is that the guy I see struggle with that more than anybody is Wormley?
Yes.
I mean,
because his instinct is to penetrate and try and blow up the play.
Right.
I get it. You know, that's his strength. That's something he's good at. But he's not strong enough to fend off blockers who are coming at him from the side. And when you penetrate, that's what happens. Guys come at you on your side and push you out of the gap.
No, that's a good point.
And if you're not strong enough, Cam can do that all day long. Aaron Smith, you couldn't push him out of a gap.
That's another.
Okay.
Yeah.
You could be blocking him from the side and he'd do this.
He was so good at that.
Yeah. Chris Wormley's not that guy.
No.
Okay.
He's
a good penetrating pass rusher as a defensive lineman. That's it. One trick pony.
Before we close things out here, we're closing in on an hour. I want to thank everybody that's been with us. Thank you so much. First and foremost,
we've been talking for an hour.
Believe it or not, we have been. It goes fast when you've got people chiming in here and us drinking beer and whiskey and everything else. So yeah, it goes fast.
Yeah.
I do want to mention Deshaun Watson. The suspension came down today, and we'd mentioned it on a couple other podcasts previously. The final result: 11 games he's going to miss and a $5 million fine.
Scarps and I are on the same page. I want to hear what Scarps got to say because I know he and I are on the exact same page.
Go for it, Scarps.
Just to get back to the run defense, as Ben and Ian both said, run to the obviously stay in your gap, run to the ball, just do your job. And if you asked any Steelers defender that won a Super Bowl what made them successful, they would all literally say, because everybody on the defense did their job. Like, just do your job, and we're not going to be able to see that from the television, but they'll know. But just do your job and run to the ball. That's all I care about. Anyway, getting back to Deshaun Watson, I'm at the point now where I am just over it. I don't think it was enough. I don't think that the NFL nor the NFLPA wanted this to go to court.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And I look at it as I understand that there's no criminal charges, but that doesn't mean you're not guilty. And to me, and so this is the thing to me that I wish you would have gotten a year and a more heavier fine, but it didn't happen because nobody ever wanted to really go to court.
Right.
Two things. First of all, you know what? I am very lenient when it comes to other fan bases, regardless of sport, because I understand who I am I have allegiance to.
Yep.
But you know what? I'm done with the Browns. I'm done with their fans. I'm done with their organization, the way they've handled all of this. It has been a total farce. It has been a total shit show. And you know what? shame on them, because every time they should have talked, they didn't. Every time they shouldn't have talked, they did. And I'm done with that shit. So you know what? I'm tired of Deshaun Watson acting like he's a victim. I'm tired that they act like they've been wronged, because you know what? Ben did what he did or didn't do what he did, but still acted like he did what he did. And that was good enough, because optics is everything. Getting back to Deshaun Watson, I wanted him to get a full year and a hefty fine. It didn't happen. But the thing today that annoyed me was people were saying, "Oh, of course the NFL wants him to play against his former team." I don't give a shit about that game. Browns at Texans, I don't care at all. If they suspended him 10 games, he could have faced off against Brady at home in his return. To me, I want to see that more than I want to see him against his old shitty team that he didn't want to play for and still got a full salary.
Right.
I sound like Costanza right now.
Anyway. It isn't just that. I mean, the whole thing with all the victims, all of his victims live in the fucking Houston area. So let's just go ahead. Let's just smear it in their face.
Yes. Right.
He lost 2% of his contract in a fucking fine. 2%.
Yeah.
The whole. Again, I'm just going to recap real quick because we've beaten this horse.
Yes, and that's why I wanted to keep it short.
All right. 66 women, 17 months that he contacted through Instagram, okay? You do not seek out professional massages on Instagram, all right? And if you do, what you're trying to get is a happy ending. What he was trying to get was some easy sex or put them in a position where, he could just take advantage of the situation and, get laid. To me, it's predatory. It's Harvey Weinstein. I agree with Ryan, but I want to add this. If the NFL owners, 3 owners in particular, Robert Kraft, Jerry Jones, and Dan Snyder, did not have sex controversies within their organization, those 3 assholes, if they had been heavily penalized by the league, like a $10 million fine and losses of draft picks and things along those lines, then the league would have come down harder on Watson. The reason that they didn't is they did not want to go to court. They didn't want to have all that dirty laundry dragged out into the light.
Right.
They wanted to come to some kind of a settlement, but they also want to appear as though they're taking this seriously and that he was punished severely. Okay? Do I think it was severe enough? Fuck no, I do not. No, he should have gotten a year and had to reapply for reinstatement. Apply for reinstatement.
Mm-hmm.
And then you talk about the fine. But 17 games and a big fat fine would have sent a message to the rest of the league. You need to think about this shit before you do this. Before you engage in behavior like this, you really need to think about it.
Yeah.
Because most of you are not a superstar. Most of you are just guys.
You're just guys. That's right.
You need to think about this shit. And if Deshaun Watson was just some fucking guy and engaged in this, he wouldn't have a job. He wouldn't be able to get a job in the CFL.
No, it's a great point. You're absolutely correct. If he was just a guy, we wouldn't even be talking about it. Ian, take your last shot there.
No, you guys summarized it perfectly. And I think the only other thing I would add is that if Deshaun Watson was in any other profession other than sports, he wouldn't have a job, period, in his profession.
He might be in jail.
Yeah.
Well, then again, though, his employer wouldn't have said, "Hey, whoa, hang on, you're doing what? Well, how about if we get you some hotel rooms and get you some non-disclosure agreements that we can have those masseuses sign before they rub your
try
cane?
To cover our tails here, so
because we want to make sure that we're covered since you're engaging in this. Yep. Would your employer do that, Ian? Scarf?
No,
Mark?
no.
Fuck no. Mine would go, what the fuck are you doing? No, knock it off.
Oh. Quick parting shot. What's your prediction for this week? Scarps, go.
Oh shit.
It's preseason. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Scarps.
I mean, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna say what we didn't say last week. I hope everybody is healthy. I hope everybody has fun, and I hope that is the occasion on both sides, because I have a fantasy football draft on Saturday, and we really don't need to lose any potential people. Okay.
Here we go.
Can I go next?
Sure.
Fantasy
Go for
football
it.
is fucking stupid. First of all,
Here we go.
it's for people that are bad at football and fantasy. I know that everyone watching this is going, well, like 90% of the people watching this are going, oh, whatever. No, fantasy football is fucking dumb. It's dumb.
But no one knows.
And if anybody watching this watches at the A&L on Sunday and you cheer for the opposing team because some asshole is on your fantasy team, I swear to God, I will get up and tell you to shut the fuck up in front of everyone. In front of everyone. Try me.
What no one knows is that Ben hates fantasy football, but he plays Dungeons and Dragons.
I don't play either.
I mean, that's the real incredible part.
Vecna over here, fucking.
But back to Saturday. Well, here's what I'm going to predict. Okay, because we see these huge swings in the Steelers Twitter and their sentiment. The Steelers are not going to look good on Saturday. Steelers Twitter is going to make preparations for a ritual seppuku. This is the end of the world. The season is over now before we've even played one game, because this is what we do on Steelers Twitter. It's either Super Bowl or bust, or, oh my God, it's the end of the world. Fire everyone. The Rooney should sell the fucking team. There's no middle ground. There's no gray area. There's no nuance. We can't do that. So that's what I see coming Saturday.
So what you're saying is we're going from 17-0 right now and George Pickens in the Hall of Fame to firing Tomlin next week.
Goddamn right.
Yes. Ian, what is that what you think? What do you think's going on?
I mean, the other thing too is, this being a road game, I think Tomlin is going to want to kind of put the team through some of the paces of what a road game is like, because this is their only road preseason game. So, I think they're going to fly in, they're going to do a walkthrough, they're going to do they're going to practice for how a regular season road game goes. And, maybe that throws some guys off their rhythm, especially like a Jalen Warren who hasn't done it before. Maybe they come out and play well. But Ryan has one more point too. I think, Jacksonville's not good either.
Ryan, you're muted.
Seattle wasn't good. And so, it'll be interesting to see, especially how Pickett plays against the twos and how Jacksonville looks with their new offensive scheme. Score doesn't really matter. It's preseason. It's practice.
Absolutely.
So, but no,
practice.
We're talking about practice. No, but I will predict that Jacksonville wins the game, but I'm not picking a score.
All right.
Go ahead, Ryan.
How can you? It's preseason.
Yeah.
People who bet on this, I'm like, really? Just like to.
I don't know how you could.
Because it's on your. I don't.
It's on
your phone. I mean, it's so easy now, and it's on every. It's on streaming services.
DraftKings, TPPN.
Yeah, make sure you go to DraftKings when you gamble. Though, just so you know.
Thank you.
I do.
At least when I was there, they stayed at TPC Sawgrass. So the Players Championship.
Yeah.
So whoever is partaking.
That's in Ponte Vedra. Yes, I lived in Jacksonville for 2 years.
So
it's a shithole town.
Okay, yes, but the golf course is nice, and
the
course is nice.
It's awesome.
So
aside from the gators in the water.
So whoever wakes up in the early tea time, gets a couple swings in, whatever, Matt Canada, sinks a hole in one on 17.
Nice. That's a
pulls himself a David Toms or Davis Love III, whatever. Those are old school golf.
And you thought you came here just for football. Listen to this guy pulling up some old school golf stuff.
Anyway, the point is, if you're going down there, enjoy yourself. Not to an extent, but enjoy yourself like it's the beach. There's a breeze. There's a beautiful resort. There's a golf course. Sit at the pool, whatever. And then just get into the stadium, and just run to the ball and know your job and do your job. That's all that matters.
I hate to rain on that parade, Ryan, but right now they're calling for about 90 degrees and solid rain. Saturday
beats the shit out of 90 degrees and humidity.
It's gonna be humid. You know that.
Well, humidity.
Right.
Humidity is one thing. Rain is better.
I would agree. So give me I'll take the Jags 19-16 in a field goal fest.
That was a good
really?
year.
Because of the rain. It was a good
You're
year.
actually going to make that prediction?
I don't know. Hell,
That reminds me, actually,
This-
thank you, Mark, for bringing that up. That was something else I didn't make note of. But that kid that came in and kicked field goals for us to give Boswell's leg a rest, I thought he looked pretty good. Like, he's a guy, he's not going to make our team because we re-signed Bos.
He's going to go somewhere, though.
But no, it wasn't Matthew Wright. It was, I didn't write his name down.
Nate Skib. Skib, wasn't it?
Skiba?
Wait.
Skiba. That's it.
Yeah.
For us?
Yes.
Who's the Jaguars kicker? Isn't it Matthew Wright?
It might be Matthew Wright. Whatever, whoever it is, Skiba looked all right and put some good things on tape that if somebody doesn't sign him, it might get him a job. Or, if we have a catastrophic injury to Boswell at some point, we could call him right back up and I'd be okay with it because I thought he looked pretty good.
Yeah, he did. I think he was the second most accurate kicker in the NCAA.
Side note on that, did you guys notice that Boswell got Tucker a raise?
Oh, absolutely, he got Tucker a raise.
Speaking of which,
did you know Ben got Derwin James a raise?
Yeah, pretty much.
Did you guys know? And our live studio audience can listen in on this too. Did you know that Ben loves the Ravens so much he named his dog after their kicker?
That's right.
Fuck off.
That's right. True story.
Shut the fuck up.
Ian on a live.
Ian just came in fucking hot
from the top rope.
All right, so
that's bullshit.
This is stupid.
My dog's 8 years old. Shut the fuck up.
How long's Justin Tucker been in the league?
I don't know.
The Jaguars. So Matthew Wright was with the Steelers last year. Right,
he's got a buzz.
All right, whatever, man. So he goes to the Jaguars. He wins them the game in London last year against the Dolphins, like a 50-something yard field goal. The dude was money, okay?
Yeah.
So then he replaces it wasn't Scobie, whoever was after him. Whatever. Whatever their kicker was.
That fucking guy. Oh my God. Flashbacks.
Hold on.
Me PTSD, Ryan.
It's going to bother me. God damn it. It's going to bother me. Hold on a second. Josh Lambo. All right. So he replaces Josh Lambo last year. And then they cut him earlier this spring. And then their kicker literally hit like the equipment guy in the head 3 times.
Nah, he hit Dave Campo, the old Cowboys head coach.
So it's like Urban Meyer's still their coach. So Doug Peterson might be there, but Urban Meyer's running special teams or something because it's just terrible. And they cut him. But they didn't sign Matthew Wright. And all I cared about Matthew Wright was that, I'm an 80s hairband guy, a little Sister Christian finding Mr. Wright. So I tweeted that a couple times a couple years ago. Because when Boz got hurt, we found Mr. Wright.
We did.
He's still listening. Hell yeah.
Night Ranger, baby.
We love our audience. All the best.
We're getting the hell out of here. Hey, it's been our very first live show. Thank you to those of you that hung out and chatted with us. Please make it a weekly thing for everybody at the Pittsburgh. Wait, let me start over again.
Pigskin Podcast Network.
That's
Mark,
it.
Do you know who our sponsors are?
Shit, I don't know who I am right now. The Pigskin Podcast Network, DraftKings, and of course our sponsor, deckroofing.com. Thanks, and we will see everybody next week. And hey, go Steelers.
Ravens suck.